Thank you. Welcome back, everybody. Third time's the charm here. So again, we said that we could use a graph to find the slope, but in my mind, it's a lot easier if you just use the slope formula, which again is m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Change in y over change in x. So that means -6 minus 4 over 2 minus -3. Okay, -6 minus 4 is a -10. 2 minus -3, that's a big plus sign. So 5. -10 divided by 5 is a -2. Looking at my second problem. Same thing. M is equal to y2 minus y1. -7 minus -3 over 15 minus 7. So that is, okay, that's a big plus sign. -7 plus 3 is a -4. 15 minus 7 is 8. -4 divided by 8 is a -1/2. Questions about those two warm-up problems? Okay, let's get to the homework. Hopefully there wasn't too many issues on the homework. I'd like to go over the last word problem because I purposefully did not give you a word problem in yesterday's guided notes because I wanted to see how you did. So if you just wrote a question mark, you didn't learn anything. I want you to try to do at least something. It asks you to find the slope. What do they give you on the graph? Well, they give you the slope with the 2 points, right? They give you 2 points. Now, can I just count the boxes? No. There's a reason for that. Each box is not worth one value. Like, for example, on the x-axis, each box is a half a unit. On the y-axis, each box is 25. So every rise of 25, it's going over 1/2. So you can't actually use the boxes. So that means I'm going to use my slope formula. Again, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. All right. So m is equal to 120 minus 60 over 2 minus 1, which gets us 60 over 1. That's my slope. My slope is 60. But it also asks us to interpret. Now, if I'm ever asked to interpret slope, and you will be, if I'm ever asked to interpret slope, what I like to do is label my y and my x. Like, for example here, this is 60 over 1. What's my label on my y-axis? Miles. What's my label on my x-axis? Hours. Oh, that makes more sense. Miles per hour. That's speed, 60 miles per hour. That's the interpretation, is that the speed is 60 miles per hour. Okay. Speed is rate of change. Speed is slope. Questions? What else do we want to go over from the homework? Anything else? I mean, a lot of it is a lot of review. You know, almost all of the homework last night was a lot of review. So hopefully it was all right. Let's get to today's guided notes then. Now, again, we're in this section 3.6 here, talking about slope intercept form. We'll be in this section today and Monday, and then on Tuesday we will review. Wednesday we will quiz over sections 3.5 and 3.6. Okay. Now, if you unfortunately don't have a good grade in this class, next Wednesday is your first, other than taking the retake. Next Wednesday is your first chance to bring your grade back up, okay? Because it's going to be a normal quiz, a 40, 50-point quiz, just over these two sections. A lot of things to do in these two sections. Like there's going to be questions where I ask you to find the intercepts, questions where I ask you to graph using intercepts, word problems using intercepts, slope, given a graph, find the slope. Given 2 points, find the slope. Given a table, find the slope. And then somewhere I ask you, identify the slope and the y-intercept based on an equation, like our first example. All right, now let's take a look here. I kind of talked about this yesterday, where slope intercept is like the big one that you guys remember. Y equals mx plus b. M being your slope and b is your y-intercept. M is your slope, B is your y-intercept. Okay. I've been stressing all along that your y-intercept is a coordinate, right? It's a coordinate. Make sure that, again, this b value is the y value of that coordinate, okay? So if it's like a +5 sitting out there on the end, the y-intercept is 0, 5. Don't lose sight of that end goal. And we'll talk about that in a second. Okay, y is equal to mx plus b. Notice that y is alone in that equation. Is y alone on the left side? Mm-hmm. Then I know that this is in slope-intercept form, okay? It's already in slope-intercept form. That means I should be able to write slope-intercept form right underneath it so that we can identify the m and the b values. So what's my slope? Quite simply what? What's my slope? What's my m? 3. Okay, I thought that was going to be quicker than that. M is 3. What's my b value? Be careful. -4. Now, again, don't lose sight of the end goal for why I put this in slope-intercept form. That is the coordinate 0, -4. That is the coordinate 0, -4. For right now, when I ask for the y-intercept, you can just tell me -4. That's fine. But it is the coordinate 0, -4. We will use that when we graph on the bottom and on the back. Okay, well, what if I have this? Can anybody tell me what type of line that is? Be a horizontal line. So we know that right off the bat. Let's try to put it into slope-intercept form. Okay. Oops, I don't need a B. I need 6.5. If I have a horizontal line, I know that the slope is 0. So it only makes sense that if I truly want this in slope-intercept form, I could write it as y is equal to 0x plus 5. Now, I think this is like more work than we need to do. I'm just showing you that this actually is in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b form. It's just that the slope is 0, and the y-intercept is the value, 6.5. Slope 0, b value 6.5. Okay. So every horizontal line you can still put into slope-intercept form. All right, let's take a look at the next one. Now, the next one has a little bit of a typo in it. For some reason, when I went to type the letter y, I typed the number 7 on your guided notes. So if you would change that, please, that should say -5x minus y. -5x minus y is equal to -2. Now, is this in slope-intercept form? No. This is not solved for y. Unfortunately not. So here's what we have to do to solve it for y. I have to get y completely alone. Oh, dang. This is like that thing where you have to get the variable completely alone. How do I do that? This is like a throwback to chapter 1.
You multiply with -5x by 0.
I'm going to get y completely alone. I want to move everything away from y. That's what I mean.
Oh, plus 5x.
Plus 5x. That's what I need to do. I need to do reverse order of operations where I add the 5x over to the other side. This was called solving for a variable earlier on this year. We get -y is equal to... Now, earlier on in the year, I would have said that this was -2 plus 5x. Now that I know better, now that I'm using slope-intercept form, now that I know that my x should come first in this equation, I'm going to write my 5x first and then bring down my -2. Because I'd like it in the slope-intercept form, mx plus b, putting the x first. How do I finish off this equation?
You divide by 5.
Nope. I want to get y completely alone. What's next to y? The negative. I want to get the negative to go away. Anybody know how I do that?
Make an addition.
Ooh, don't make it addition. Heard it. Somebody said it. Divide. I have to divide by -1. And whatever I divide to one side, I have to divide all pieces to on the other side. Remember, we get a negative to go away by dividing by -1 over to the other side. All right, so this is y is equal to -5x plus 2. -5x plus 2. Just changes the sign. Now is it in slope-intercept form?
Yeah.
Perfect. So what is my slope and what is my y-intercept? What's my slope? -5. And what's my y-intercept? 2. Questions about that? Let's do that again, because that's kind of a difficult process. I get it. We didn't like it before when we had to solve for a variable. Guys, what kind of form are C and D in? Standard form. They're in standard form. So what we're doing now is we're changing from standard form into slope-intercept form. That's really what we're doing. All right, we got to solve for y. How do I get y alone?
Divide by 4.
Oh, don't say divide by 4.
Wait. Subtract the x from one side and
Then divide by 4. Subtract x. So that gives me 4y is equal to -x minus 10. Notice that I put the x first. Now I divide by 4, and everybody gets divided by 4. Now, I'm going to do something a little tricky. Since there's no number in front of x, but a negative sign, I'm going to treat that like as a -1 in front of x. Here's why. Because I want it to be represented like slope, like a fraction. Do you see the -1/4 in there? -1 divided by 4? That is -1/4 x. And then -10 divided by 4. Now, I said I wanted slope as a fraction, but do I care about my y-intercept? No. That's fine being a decimal. I actually encourage you to do a decimal because it's a little bit easier to tell where it falls on the number line of the y-axis. -10 divided by 4, that's -2.5. So what's my slope? What's my slope? -1/4. And my y-intercept? -2.5. Yeah. Good. Questions about that? See, once it's put into slope-intercept form, it's really easy to identify what the slope and the y-intercept are. Very easy. Once you put it into slope-intercept form. All right. Once you identify the slope and the y-intercept, it's easy to graph. Let me show you. First of all, is this in slope-intercept form?
Yes.
Yeah. I see the y alone on the left side. So the first thing I should do is exactly what I did on my last question. Identify what is the slope and what is the y-intercept. So somebody tell me, what is the slope? Don't say 4x, just 4, right? Remember, m is a number. So 4. My y-intercept? -4. Now, remember that is the coordinate 0, -4, right? That is the coordinate 0, -4. Now, when I go to graph this, okay, here's how we graph these things. You start at the point, use your slope to create more points. You start at the point, use your slope to create more points. Where's my point? 0, -4. Down here. Then use your slope to generate more points. Start at the point. A lot of people go back to the origin and then use this. No. You start at the point and then use your slope to create more points. So for example, the slope is 4, right? That is equivalent to 4 over 1. Rise 4, run 1. So let's do that. Rise 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, run 1. There's a dot. Rise 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, right 1. +4, +1. Do you know that I could also go down 4 if I go left 1? Because a negative divided by a negative gets us back to a positive. So I could go down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, left 1 if I wanted to. That still generates the same slope for me. Questions about that? Okay, so when it's given to us in slope intercept form, it's pretty easy to graph the line. Use the b value, use the y-intercept, use the slope to generate more points. Okay. (3x plus y is equal to -3). This is on the back now. 3x plus y is equal to -3. Is this solved for y?
No.
Okay, how do we solve it for y then? How do we solve for y?
-3.
Minus 3x, right? Minus 3x. So let's do that. So y is equal to, and I'm going to put the x first. But coincidentally enough, both my slope and my y-intercept are both -3. M and B. All right, now we start here. We start at the coordinate. This is 0, -3. Start there. Then use your points, use your slope to create more points. Now, my slope is negative. Be careful with that. My slope is negative. So as I go to the right, I'm going to continually go down. That means this slope is -3. So it's -3 over 1. Down 3, right 1. Down 3, right 1. Down, right. I could also go up 3, but I would have to go left 1. Up 3, left 1. Up 3, left 1. Up 3, left 1. And there's my line. Hopefully you hit more points than I do. Questions about that? Let's do one more of those. It's another one of those ones where I have to solve for y again, right? Because y is not alone. I need to get y alone on the left side. What's the first step in getting y alone? Minus x. Subtract x. Do your addition and subtraction first. So I've got 2y is equal to -x plus 6. And now I divide by 2. Be careful. When I divide by 2, everything gets divided by 2. And this is another one of those weird ones that I'm going to be taking a -1 divided by 2. I'm treating the 1 in front of the x as a fraction, -1 over 2, or -1/2 x. 6 divided by 2 is 3. The reason why I'm pulling the x out like that is so that it looks like a fraction that we can interpret the slope with, that we can create the line with. So in this case, my m is that -1/2, and the b value is 3. Start at the point 0, 3. Use your slope to create more points. -1/2. Negative slope. Down right. Down 1, right 2. Down 1, right 2. Down 1, right 2. And so on. I could go up 1, but then I would have to go left 2. And there's my line. Whoa, missed a lot of points there. All right, any questions about that? We feel good about that? All right, let's. I'm gonna turn off the video and we can get started on our homework for today.